Hey, good morning, Trondhjem friends, and welcome to this week's episode of Patio Ponderings. I'm Pastor Sue, and I have made a patio, if you will, out of a shady spot because we are going to experience today, I think, one of the hottest days of the summer with temperatures pushing 100 degrees. So, keeping it cool. So this week, we continue with exploring the different parts of the Vocare Spiritual practice that undergirds the Nourishing Vocation Project that we are a part of. And again, I will include a lot of explanation for that underneath this video. So please take an opportunity to read through that. So Vocare, again, is an acrostic. And we've talked about the V for values, O for openness. Today is C for call, the call from God. And so as I've been thinking about this, I've been thinking about someone very special to me in my life, and that's our daughter, Melissa. Melissa is one who is living out her call in amazing ways. She is a nurse, she's an RN, and for the past well over a decade, her specialty has been in the ER. And more recently, she is a flight nurse. And her temperament, her personality, her ability to work in a crisis, they suit her. This job suits her so well. She is living out her call very well. But one of the things that I've been thinking about, though, is that, Melissa sees patients when they are in the most dire of circumstances. She puts a lot of, she and the people that she works with put a lot of effort and emotion and intensity into getting those patients stabilized, to keeping them alive and getting them on to the next step of care. But when they go on to that next step of care, whether it's a department in the hospital or whether she's transporting them to a bigger trauma center, a lot of times she doesn't know the outcome of her work. She doesn't know necessarily if the patient survived. She doesn't know the impact of the care she gave or the extent it was helpful or not. So I've been thinking about that and how we're kind of left sometimes in the dark in our call, that we don't always know the result of the work that we're called to do. And I think that is so true in the story that we heard on Sunday, which is the story of Ruth. Now, in very, very quick summary, the story of Ruth begins with her mother-in-law, Naomi, and her family when they have to leave their country due to famine. Ruth marries into the family. She is the wife of one of Naomi's sons, but Naomi loses her husband and both of her sons. And so now Naomi is ready to return to her country, and Ruth has a choice. I think she has to discern her call. Is she going to stay in her own country, or is she going to return to Naomi's country with her? And she makes the choice to go with Naomi. And she says this: "Wherever you go, I will go. And wherever you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God." And so Ruth has made this incredible choice, has answered this incredible call to make a new life with her mother-in-law, Naomi. And it is not without challenge, that is for sure. But they meet up with a kind farmer named Boaz, and Ruth and Boaz end up getting married, and they have a baby named Obed. And now we think, wow, that story turned out great. But I don't think Ruth had any idea in her whole lifetime of what the true impact of her choice was. Because that baby that she gives birth to becomes the grandfather of King David, right? And we all know that it is out of the line of King David that Jesus comes. So when Ruth made this choice, when she answered this call to stay with Naomi, I don't think she had even the slightest hint that she was going to become part of the family tree of Jesus. And that is so true for all of us. we answer a call from God to participate in God's work in the world. And sometimes we can see the impact of that, but there are times when we have no idea how the call upon our lives will ripple out into the world and over time. And so this is really what I've been thinking about. And I'm not sure what to make of it. I know that you know, our actions have an impact, for better or for worse. And sometimes we don't know how that plays out. So what do we do? It requires just an incredible amount of trust then, right, to answer God's call. But, you know, it requires a kind of daring to not answer the call, because just as positive ripples go out to the world, you know, we don't want negative ripples out in the world either, right? So it all just takes incredible vulnerability, and it takes relationship with God. It takes trust. It takes faith. It takes courage. A life of faith takes all of those things, but we don't have to come up with those things on our own. We have the presence of God with us in and through the Holy Spirit to lead us and show us. And that's why we do this Vocare Spiritual practice, to deepen our lives of faith, to deepen the connections with the Holy Spirit, so that we can simply do what we are called to do. So what do you think? Have you ever had an experience where you've done something in the world and only later saw how it affected others or the world, for good or for worse? I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the story of Ruth. It is one of my favorite Bible stories for so many reasons. But yeah, let me know what you think, and stay cool today, and we'll see you Sunday. Bye.